How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. It's over. The Fed is pumping the market right now, and I want to explain why that is. I'm going to explain what Jerome Powell said, why a lot of people feel like there's risk taken off the table right now, and talk about a couple of different things in the market. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, I appreciate that. I will also link the video that I posted earlier today because it covered a lot of the news. There hasn't been much news except for the Fed meeting since earlier today, but there was actually a good amount of news this morning, and Elon actually pumped a crypto. There are investors buying one small token and then selling off Bitcoin, and now obviously they're buying it because the price is going up pretty dramatically. But watch that video if you haven't seen it already, because there was a lot that went on over the last 24 hours. Now, let's talk about the Fed meeting. So let's take a look. The Fed is raising rates by a half percentage point. This is the biggest rate hike in 2 decades. So this is what everyone expected. 99.3% of the people in the Fed rate hike decision, I forgot who they pulled for that, expected this. Now, a couple big things he pointed out. First of all, they are going to move expeditiously, he says, to combat rising inflation. They're going to taper, or they're going to sell off their balance sheet a little bit quicker than people expected, which all this was pretty much on expectation with a 50 basis point hike. But then that was a little bit worse than people expected, but the market really didn't do anything when this happened. However, when he started to give his statement, that's when the market started to fly upward. You can actually see Bitcoin almost at 40,000 right now. Also, Webull, you can see here, multiple indexes up 2% plus. So why is everyone so excited? Well, he said, first of all, and this wasn't the good part, but he said they may do multiple 50 basis point hikes. So they said multiple more. Depending on the market conditions, they may do a few more, which isn't good. We were thinking maybe he'd do one more and then go back down to 25. But the point that he made that made so many investors excited is that they're not going to do a 75 basis point hike, which is huge. That's what everyone's worried about, is that the Fed is really saying one thing, but they're actually going to do something else, which they're going to raise rates much faster than people expect. That's what everyone's worried about. However, it looks like they're trying to engineer this soft landing, right? Because they're between a rock and a hard place where they have to raise rates to combat inflation, but also, first of all, the market's not doing good, but doing well, but they don't really care about that too much. They just don't want to go through a massive recession. Also, as they raise rates, it also hampers the US's ability to pay back debt. And it's a significant amount. I mean, every single little basis point hike causes an issue with their ability to pay back the US debt. Now, I think it's important to realize that the market is pumping on this, right? This is good news for the market. And the fact is, we got rid of that fear. It's over. The fear is over of being rug pulled. And they've been trying to focus on telling us over and over that they're going to try to explain what they're going to do, and then they're going to do it. They're not trying to scare anyone. They kind of did that back in January where they got a lot more hawkish. So everyone feels like we're on the same page now, right? We're just all going the same direction, and we understand what the Fed's trying to do. We also saw, some negative GDP growth recently. We also saw possibly the top of inflation. So as time progresses, if we see more slowdowns like this, then we might actually see them become a little bit more dovish. Maybe it's only one more 50 basis point hike, and then it's 25 and 25 and 25, and that's what we're hoping for, right? Especially if we can get back to that 2 or 3, maybe even 4% inflation rate. So with that in mind, let's talk a second. So I do want to thank sponsor of the channel, Kucoin. I actually just ran a payment through here because this is probably one of the easiest places to get payments and actually get crypto. Like I sent Solana in here, was super fast, super easy. Also has some of the lowest fees. It's like 0.1% instead of 0.5%, which can make a big difference when you're trying to move crypto around. I'll put a link to this underneath the video. They also have a ton of crypto assets that you can't buy on other platforms. So if you guys want, you can check out the link underneath the video and start trading today. But let's talk about what to do next in the market. So obviously, there's a lot going on. We have the Fed raising exactly how we expected. People are now quite bullish on crypto. What am I doing? Just going to continue DCAing. I've talked about this a lot, right? I've been DCAing into crypto and stocks, knowing that over the long term, whatever the Fed does, doesn't really matter that much, right? You can try to time out the market, which is great. If you went long right before this, that's great. But we know that we can just fall right back down. I mean, we've seen these kinds of rallies and declines and rallies and declines. The trick is to stay invested and buy assets that are undervalued. So with that in mind, we do have a lot of altcoins that are pumping on this news, even more than Bitcoin. Like Cardano's up 11%. We have AVAX up 10%. We have Tron up 12%. A lot of cryptos pumping pretty significantly on this news. Now, I am sticking to the top cryptos that I like. We have seen some extra volume actually in Twitter comments on a few different cryptos here. So let's take a look at this. Let me know if you want me to show you what this is a little bit more. This is kind of cool. It's a cool tool from Cointelegraph. So Twitter activity. You can see the Twitter activity of different cryptos just to kind of get a feel for if there's some kind of news that's happening. You can also see the increase in volume. You can see some people taking big bets on Cardano, Bitcoin, a couple other cryptos as well recently. But you can see a lot of people talking about Ethereum. Maybe that's still from the weekend because people were pissed off about the other deed or the NFT drop that cost people so much in gas fees. So it might be a little bit due to that. We have a little bit more posting about Bitcoin. There was some news, like I said in the video earlier today, a lot of new companies accepting it for payment. Solana has come down a little bit in tweet volume. Also Terra, but Terra's also up 6%. So maybe some people will start talking about it a little bit more. Pretty low tweet volume though when you compare these up to Bitcoin. So whenever there's news, I'm sure this pumps up pretty dramatically. Now, let me know what you think about this underneath the video. Do you think this is going to stay? Do you think we're actually going to see a continued pump? I do think, and I've said this several times, I do think we're closer to the bottom than the top. We've fallen a lot, and the fact is there's got to be a place for a lot of this money, right? So much money has flown out of not just crypto, but of stocks, right? So many people need somewhere to put their money, and real estate's still really high. Bonds aren't really producing a good yield. So the fact is a lot of these companies that are still growing 10, 20%, maybe they have worse guidance than they did just a year ago or so. A lot of these companies, though, are at severe discounts. I mean, you start looking around, even the top names, some of the safer tech companies, they're trading at very low prices. So I still am going to continue to buy. I bought yesterday. I'm buying tomorrow. I'm going to continue to buy because the prices are just too good, right? Bitcoin's a 15x from here in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Probably a 10x or actually a 20x here, 20 to 30x in the next 5 to 10 years. So the fact is, I think as long as you stay invested, you'll be fine. Try not to get FUDed out of the market. Don't get too fearful because everything will turn around. Just take advantage when you can. I have been trying to raise some more cash when possible, just because I want to have some money in case we see any more dips. I do have it working for me in stablecoin and a couple other investments. So I would just say keep some money on the sides, but I'm pretty bullish over the rest of the year, right? A lot of the fear, stuff that we hopefully, knock on wood, won't see throughout the rest of the year, a lot of that has been priced into this market, and I think it will turn around. But let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Thank you guys. Check out Kucoin, and I'll see you in the next one.